the Will County Democratic Caucus of the Will County Board, calling our meeting to order at 6:09 p.m. And we just call the roll.
Mueller. Here. Newquist. Here. Cook. Here. Rice. Tyson. Here. Harris.
Here.
Trainier. Jackie. Van Dyne.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Ventura.
Present.
Markham.
Here.
Cowan.
Here.
Ferry.
I'm here.
Jackie, I can see you, but I'm not sure if you can hear me to give us a present.
You're muted.
I guess I can mark her as present. We did hear her before.
Yeah.
You have a quorum, Mark.
All right. Next, the pledge. Tyler Markham, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. What we're going to next, I need approval of minutes from the Will County Democratic Caucus special meeting on May 19th. Looking for a motion to approve.
Motion Mueller.
Second Ventura.
Second Ventura. Beth?
Mueller. Yes. Newquist. Sorry, yes. Cook. Yes. Tyson. Yes. Harris.
Yes.
Trainier. Well, Van Dyne.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes, Beth.
Brooks.
Yes.
Ventura.
Yes, and Beth, I wanted to make sure. Did you hear Joe say yes? Because I heard him.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay.
Markham.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
And Ferry.
Yeah.
Motion carries. And who made this? I know, Meta, you've made the motion. Who seconded it? I did not catch it.
Ventura did.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, it says old business, but there's a blank there, so we don't have any old business. So we can move forward to new business. And under new business, first of all, is a discussion of re-election regarding the election of the county board speaker. Okay. I want to open the floor for nominations.
Mark, this is Ken.
Kenny, go ahead.
Excuse me, Mark. Just to remember, if you make a motion to nominate in the second, you have to vote on that before another nomination.
Okay.
Isn't that correct, Mary? Yes, that's correct. So I don't know if you just want to open it for discussion before you have anyone make motions for nominations. I'm not sure what the plan is. I just wanted to make sure that you are all aware of that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Thanks, Beth. We'll open for discussion, not nominations yet. So raise your hand, and we got Maura watching the hands go up. Kenny, you were first. Go ahead.
I didn't know if this is going to be a nomination or not, but I would like to throw my hat out there for discussion and explain why I would like to be considered.
We're doing discussion at this point.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Well, the floor is yours, Kenny. What do you want to say?
You said I can't talk about my qualifications? Mark, is that appropriate to discuss it now?
Yeah, we're in discussion now, so go ahead and talk.
Oh,
we'll open it for nominations later.
Okay. Well, I do have 8 years on the county board. I'm into my 3rd term. I'm currently the finance committee chair. I'm also the ad hoc funds committee chair. And I'm also on the executive committee, the public works and transportation committee, and also the ad hoc IT assessment committee. Previously, my experience includes finance committee, legislative and policy committee, the judicial committee. I also served as chair of the land use and development committee. We had back in the day an ad hoc economic development committee and ad hoc IT assessment committee. Probably the 2 committees I haven't served on yet is capital and public works. Public health and safety, sorry. I'm also currently the president of the Forest Preserve of Will County. I served as vice president. I served on the Operation and Finance Committee. At a certain time, I served on those committees simultaneously. I'm also president of the Illinois Association of Conservation and Forest Preserve District. A lot of the experience I gained over the years, which I think is important, is the various tours we had at the old sheriff facility, the jail, Will County Jail, the old courthouse, touring our landfill, the Farm Bureau agricultural tours, and even Center Point. I've been involved in bonding for the courthouse, other capital projects, the Forest Preserve, retirement of debt and restructuring of debt. Also involved in the railway road, water and sewer discussion and what that took and all the conversation around there. Also, we had an airport committee, topics such as leaf burnings, labor negotiations. I do have 32 years of service with the state of Illinois, serving with 4 different agencies. I retired from the Department of Correction, where our budget was anywhere from $220 million to $140 million per year, and supervised staff that range between 23 or 32 full-time equivalents. As one of my objectives as the board speaker is to serve as a placeholder. I would like to assist with the transition of the new administration. I would like to improve the communication, review our inclusion and diversity policies on hiring, procurement, outreach, make sure we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. I am qualified. I feel I am a good communicator. Main part of communication is listening. I think I do that very well. So once again, I would like to be considered. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. Next on the hands up list is Meta Mueller.
Hi, guys. I wanted to repeat Amanda's suggestion from our last meeting about having Mimi be our speaker. And I'd like to hear her talk about that.
Okay. Amanda? I'm sorry, I kind of missed. You were kind of breaking up, Meta. What, again, you wanted Amanda to speak or Mimi?
No, I wanted to recommend Mimi for speaker.
Okay.
Which was something Amanda had done in a previous meeting. So I said I was, okay.
I'm
okay,
sorry.
There you go.
I'm
sorry.
on it now.
Sorry.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Meta. Joe Van Dyne, you were next on the hands up list. Speak to us. Oh, it's not up.
Yeah, Mark, I had it up earlier and then I took it down after I realized the process here. So yeah, I'll keep my hand down for now. Thank you.
Okay. Mimi Cowan, you're on the hands up list next.
Thank you, Mark.
Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I first of all wanted to thank everyone for their support last week, that everyone who indicated that they were supporting me. In the week that's ensued, I wanted to give myself some time to think about it, and certainly give everyone else some time to breathe and to mourn Larry's passing and let that take center stage. But I also thought it was pretty important to put serious thought into this nomination and the support that you've given me, because it's obviously a significant role. And I'm the first person to admit that having someone as speaker who's only been on the board a year and a half is a unique conclusion to come to. And but there's a variety of reasons why, in the course of this week, I have decided that I remain interested in this position, and that I think I'm a good candidate for the position. One of the things, as I've spoken to people in the last few weeks, I think one of the things we need to do is all get to know each other better. And this has definitely come up in caucus meetings previously, that we do some team building and really get to know each other as people first. And that goes across party lines. I think it would behoove the county board for some of us to get to know our Republican colleagues better and to have conversations with them on a regular basis. So I did want to take a few minutes to tell you about what my experience is, because I know a lot of you don't know much about me from before I was on the board. And it's clear that Ken has more years of experience on the board than I do, and I value that experience. I just think there's more to the picture. I think that right now we're in a unique position, and that allows us to take some unique solutions to solving our current speakership issue. And, you know, if this was appointing someone for the normal 2-year term, I might say that I would weigh experience on the county board more strongly. But we have this unique position, and I think it enables us to do something a little bit differently this time. While I don't have the number of years on the county board that Ken does, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my professional background. And most of it, I feel, directly relates to the job that I'm looking for you to essentially hire me to, which is to be speaker. And you are the hiring committee. My first career out of college was in the opera industry. I majored in music and theater and speech communications, and I started working at opera companies. By the time I was 25, I was managing a $5 million nonprofit budget and a staff of 3, which isn't all that extensive, but I was also managing 18 opera singers and musicians. Some of them were twice as old as I was. I managed everything about their daily lives. And I had to also at the same time work with the artistic lead of the Metropolitan Opera. This is when I worked at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. And a lot of the artistic staff to coordinate the trainings, rehearsals, contracts, labor negotiations for the singers that I was in charge of. After working in the arts for a number of years, I decided to go back to school. I wasn't particularly happy with sitting at a desk all day. I found that I liked to be a little bit more active, and I got my master's degree and then went on to get my PhD. In the course of getting my PhD and after getting my PhD, I taught at the college level. I mostly taught American history, but I also mostly while I was doing my degree, I taught American history, but mostly after my degree, I've taught urban studies and with a heavy emphasis on urban planning. My teaching, I think, really bears a lot of weight in this conversation too. Planning, organizing, being able to communicate clearly goals to students is a key part of the teaching process. I was also entrusted on a number of occasions with courses that other young professors were not able to handle because I had more professional experience than some of the other young professors. At one point, I was given a teaching assignment to support a very senior professor who could not be trusted with his classes, to be honest. And the department head came to me and said, we need some help and we need you to step in and manage this course while being able to manage this senior professor and still being able to make sure the students are getting what they need. And, you know, a lot of those experiences have led me to where I am now. I've managed hundreds of volunteers in campaigns, in campaign offices. I have put into place processes and transparent communication systems for both campaigns and now for a state senate office. I'm used to working with people at all different levels of government. I'm used to managing staff. And I have pretty much top-notch organizational and structural management skills. My goal for the next 6 months is that we start to work together as a more cohesive board, and that includes working with our Republican colleagues. Again, I think we have a unique opportunity, and while I highly value experience, I think that experience can be measured by more than just years on the county board. So I will also say that in the interim of the last week, if some of you have changed your mind and that the majority of people on this caucus support someone other than me, I will support whoever is supported by the majority of this caucus because I feel it's very important that we go into this meeting on Thursday unified because, frankly, we have the majority and we should be making this decision. So that's what I have to say. I'm happy to answer any questions about my experience or what I would see the next 5-6 months looking like, and happy to go forward from here. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Mimi. Any more hands up for comments?
This is Jackie. I'd like to make a comment. I don't have my hand up because my hand is on the wheel.
Okay. Keep your hands on the wheel and go.
Where it belongs. I just want to say I barely knew Mimi when she got elected to this position. I have been singularly impressed with her communication skills, her initiative. She did not need anybody to tell her to speak up on issues that I felt were extremely important to us as Democrats and that we had been silent on in the past. And I appreciated her being willing to step up and do that, and would have liked to have seen that more from other people on my side of the aisle before this whole new crew of freshmen got involved. I'll speak very frankly, I've seen some people come and go that have never spoken a word on the board floor. People that are Democrats, that supposedly hold Democrat ideals, and have come and gone from this board without ever saying a word during a board meeting. So I am definitely still in support of Mimi, even though I honestly wanted the position. But hey, you know, it is what it is.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. Anyone else have any more comments or discussion? Joe Van Dyne, do you have anything to say? I thought your hand was up before and you said you wanted to comment later. It's a little later. You want to comment?
Yeah, sure. I'd just like to say that I respect both candidates. I don't know if everybody is done putting their name in the ring or not, but I respect Mimi and I also respect Ken. One thing that does come to mind for you, Ken, being the president of the Forest Preserve, do you plan on continuing to be the president, or would you step aside to more focus on the full board, or how would that work with you?
Ken?
Okay. Yeah, I don't plan on stepping aside. I think I can fulfill the duties.
Of the Forest Preserve? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Joe, you got any more? Did that answer your question, Joe? Or?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to unmute. Yeah, that answers my question. I respect your decision, Ken, and your and I appreciate you willing to put in the work for both positions. I don't know if I would be comfortable with that. I think both positions would take a lot of time, and I would like to see you focus on one or the other, to be honest with you. Therefore, I'm going to support Mimi.
Mark?
Yeah, next on the hands raised list is Rachel.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I've got a lawnmower in the background, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Joe kind of asked the question I was going to ask, which was about the Forest Preserve president. I think, Ken, you're doing a great job there, and I just feel that, we need to spread some of the wealth around a little bit, get some different ideas and views when it comes to leadership. So I would not be comfortable with you carrying both the speaker and the Forest Preserve president. And I think, I'm glad you have the confidence and maybe the ability to do both, but it really is just about trying to get more people in this caucus engaged in different areas. Jackie, I think you would make a wonderful speaker or leader. I know that you're running for mayor, so please, know that some of us do believe in other members who didn't put their name forward for this. To that point, I am supporting Mimi. I think Mimi will do a wonderful job. I think that you can weigh experience, but you also have to weigh skill set. And I think that some people have certain skill sets that they're born with and they've adapted over time, and that equally needs to be weighed with experience. Some people can show up, like Jackie said, could show up to a number of meetings and never have any input. And then other people can, show up on day one and have a plethora of ideas. And so I think it's a little of both. I wouldn't discount one or the other. I have to weigh those equally. And since this is 6 months before we have our reorganization, I think it's a good time to test out other leaders and see what they might bring to the table. And if we don't like it, then in December are you cutting me off, Mark? Seriously? Come on.
I thought you were done.
Well, yeah, apparently.
I thought you were done.
So in December, if we don't like who that is, then we have the opportunity to reorganize at that point. And, Ken, then I suppose you would have an option then as well to choose one or the other. But I would hope that even in December, when we discuss who's going to be speaker and who's going to be president, whether those roles stay the same or not, that we would consider more than one person for those. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And no, I wasn't cutting you off. I thought you were done. Next is Sherry Newquist from way out east on the east side of the county. Sherry.
Hi, guys.
The microphone and let us know what's on your mind.
Hi, guys. I was just going to say, which has really already pretty much been said by Joe and Rachel, that I am supporting Mimi. Ken, I really respect your experience, and I've been working with you now, and I have a lot of respect for what you do, but I really think it's a great opportunity for us to highlight some, younger, newer members and give someone else a chance. I really do, because of the situation. It is a unique situation. And I agree that if this were a different type of selecting speaker, that experience might count for a lot more. But I'm supporting Mimi. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Meta Bueller is next on the hands raised list. Meta?
You know what? I unraised mine because I did it by accident. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
So
that's all right. Herb.
There's other people.
Herb Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I have been doing is listen to a lot of our colleagues, and I too try to listen. And I learned a lot from talking with some of them on the phone. And I said all that to say this. I respect Ken and Mimi both. Even though Ken been on the board 8 years, Mimi been on the board 1.5 years, I did let her know I do respect both of them. I think one of the things that's very important for us, I have an old saying that a lot of people don't like, but I see it anyway. It's hard to please all the people all the time. It doesn't matter who Joe Biden picked for vice president, somebody's not going to like him or her. And so saying that, I think the important thing for us is at least try to have some unity. And I do support our caucus in that person. However, yes, I do support Ken Harris because of that experience. But I do think, Ken, that as chairman of the president of Ford Reserve and the speaker is a very, very demanding. And I do think you ought to rethink that, because I don't think that it's a good idea to serve them both, and that's just my personal opinion. But I do think that unity is very important. I think it's important that we as a caucus do stick together. We're not going to agree on everything all the time, but I will give you my promise. I will support our caucus on whoever you choose, and I am supporting Ken Harris. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Herb. Kenny, you're next.
Yeah, I'm so glad everybody's concerned about what I can do and making a decision that I can't do it. But keep in mind, I got 4 committees I'm serving on now. I'm serving as finance chair. I would have to give that up. I serve on the ad hoc committee, funds committee. That's $120 million. That's my passion. I would love to spend. I have to give that up. Public Works and Transportation. I have to give that up. The ad hoc IT committee. I have to give that up. So I will be attending all those meetings as I've been doing already. I just won't be chairing those committees. And as far as speaking and loudly, that don't weigh in the decision how loud you speak or how often you speak. The main decision is that you're there to vote on the facts or whatever's presented in front of you. So for someone that said you don't speak all the time, a lot of times we speak on the same thing and we come to agreement early on in the conversation. So there's no need to try to get brownie points just because you want to speak or go on record. So that's how I do business. I listen to discussion and try not to beat a dead horse. So case in point, our finance committee meeting, we took almost 2.5 hours on the topic on property tax, and nothing came about. So to me, that was counterproductive. We took it to the executive committee and got the job done. So that's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. And you're right. There have been people in the past that have just spoke to just hear their own voice. So you're right. Next on the list is Meta. Meta Mueller.
Thanks. I definitely agree with our caucus having unity about this. I think that's really important. We hold the majority, then it should be our caucus's choice. I definitely appreciate and respect the experience that both folks have. I have a lot of concerns about the organizational nightmare it creates by pulling Ken out of the positions he's in to be speaker. I know that some folks aren't worried about that, but I am. I think that we are going to be entering some bumpy times coming up with the new administration, with the learning curve. We've just lost our county executive. I feel a lot like we are hitting a lot of bumps in the road and nothing's running very smoothly. And it just creates a bigger mess if we have to reorganize Forest Preserve and other committees. So if Ken is in the speaker position, I understand that's not a problem for some people. I just think it's messy, and I think that it doesn't serve our residents or our county very well to be in constant upheaval that way. None of us intended this. So obviously everyone's intentions are good, but I think that it's really important that we come together as a caucus and make this decision. Thanks.
Thanks, Meta. Next on the list, the hands raised list, is Rachel Ventura. Rach?
Yeah, I was going to leave my comments as is, but I want to clarify what I put in the chat just now, that no one said Ken couldn't do the job. But I do think it is the leader's job, whether it's our leadership or a speaker or even the whip, anyone in leadership needs to be able to hear what people are saying and understand, or at least attempt to understand where they're coming from. Because otherwise there is no compromise. There is no understanding what the problem is to move forward. So I have concerns right off the bat with that. But the second thing is, Ken, you pointed out the tax stuff, and we argued for 2.5 hours. But the reality of that is that the Finance Committee pushed through something. This caucus could not find the balls to stand up for what we pushed for in the Financial Committee. And then on top of that, the day after our county board voted for what I consider a half-assed measure when we could have had the full thing. The day afterwards, I sent Ken a message and asked, now that the state has passed it, because other counties did have the balls to take this up with their state's attorneys and push it through, that would we be bringing it back to our financial committee to talk about how we can help our people 100% with fees and penalties until September? And I was told I was beating a dead horse and that we already got a political win to let it go. I'm sorry, that is not what I want to see from any Democrat. I want to see that we 100% fight for our people, our constituents, our area, especially if there is financial concern. So no, I'm sorry. You have completely lost my vote, Ken. Any chance of any future leadership vote, whether it's this or the Forest Preserve, because we need leaders who are going to listen to everybody and fight for the people.
Are you done? Okay. Kenny?
Yeah, Mark. I'm the Forest Preserve president because one of our members decided to move on to something bigger and better. Okay? With no notice, out of nowhere. The speaker is vacant because one of our members decided to move on to bigger and better. So I have no intentions of moving on to anything bigger and better unless God has something to do with it. So I agree with Rachel. We got to listen. It goes both ways. So I agree with you 100%. Thank you.
Kenny, be careful when you bring God into it, because one time I said, God help us with Scalia. And boy, all of a sudden he wasn't here. So anyway,
Funny.
any other comments or questions or discussion? Anybody else? Okay, it looks like the list is ended at Kenny just now. So if that concludes the discussion, I think at this point we could open the floor for nominations of...
Mark, I just want to ask to clarify with Mary Tatro. Mary, are we voting on something tonight, or is this just a straw poll? And if so,
wait a minute, I have a question. Are we voting to pick up who we're going to bring forward as speaker? Aren't we voting on that tonight?
You can vote on it. It's all right. It's on the agenda this time. The reason we couldn't last time was because it was not on the agenda.
Okay. Maura, you got anything else?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, then at this point, we could open the floor for nominations.
My Ferry, Herb Brooks.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Ken Harris for interim speaker of the Will County Board.
This is Jackie Trenier, and I'd like to nominate Mimi Cowan.
Got a motion on the floor first.
Yep. We got to do one nomination at a time, and just remember the final vote is at county board.
Okay.
I second the motion by Herb Brooks.
Motion to nominate Ken Harris is made and seconded. All in previous roll?
Roll call
Roll
vote.
call vote, okay.
Mueller,
No.
Newquist,
No.
Cook,
No.
Rice,
Sorry about that. No.
Tyson,
No.
Harris,
Yes.
Trenier,
No.
Van Dyne,
No.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ventura,
No.
Markham,
Yes.
Cowan,
No.
Ferry,
Yes.
for affirmative, 8 negative. Motion fails.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for speaker?
This is Jackie, and I'd like to nominate Mimi Cowan. I've been on this board 12 years, and I am proud and excited to nominate another woman that has a voice. Thank you.
I'll second that. This is Meta.
Okay, motion by Jackie, second by Meta. Previous roll, or do we have to have a roll call?
I'll do a new roll call. I wanted to clarify, we had 4 affirmative, 9 negative on the last roll call vote.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so roll call vote for Mimi then. Meta?
Yes.
Newquist?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm having problems when I hit the mute and unmute. So I'm sorry for my delay.
Thank you. Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
No.
Rainier? Pardon me? Jackie, was that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Van Dyne?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Tyler?
Tyler? Is Tyler not there?
Maybe he stepped away.
Cowan?
Yes.
Ferry?
Yes.
Tyler, I'll try you again. Are you around for the roll call? Okay, 1, 2. 11 affirmative, 1 negative. Motion carries.
Hey, Mark, I just want to, Mary, could you just clarify for Thursday what exactly that vote means that was just taken? Because I just want to make sure that, everybody is clear.
This is just a vote so that the caucus knows what kind of support they have going forward. It has no legal gravity. The vote, the actual vote will take place at county board. So this is just for your benefit to know where the support lies.
Thank you.
So at the county board meeting, we'll bring forward Mimi as our candidate for speaker, right?
That's your decision, yes.
Yes, that is the plan. This is Meta. I believe that's what we just figured out.
All right. Should this plan not go through, okay, can we have a backup plan so that we can throw another name out there right away? I'd like to have it. Number one.
Why would this not go through?
It's possible that it wouldn't.
Okay, we're all adults here, so either someone here is planning to not vote for Mimi in our caucus, in which case this is the time to have that conversation, or we can't do simple math.
Well, I don't know how it's going to go at the caucus, but I want to be ready with somebody else in case it doesn't go through.
Okay, so who is not going to vote for Mimi and vote with the Republicans and against the Democratic caucus? This is so funny because I have been blamed multiple times about not supporting the Democrats and how worried you guys all were that I would somehow bail the Democratic Party and go with the Republicans. But it sounds like there's people on this call who are absolutely willing to do that. So why don't we just have that conversation instead of beating around the bush and trying to find option B?
Well, I'm of the opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought Mary Tatros said the other side could try to put through somebody too, because the speaker serves both sides. Mary, can you comment on that?
That's correct. There's no requirement that the speaker be of the same party as the previous speaker. So it could be anyone.
So I would like to have a second name ready to bring forward so that we have somebody, if the first one don't go through, and we have a second one.
Well, I've been on this board 12 years, Mark. I think I have as much seniority as Herb Brooks, maybe more. Certainly more than Denise Winfrey had. I'll put forward Jim Bustos' name. He's been a speaker forever. It's sort of like the mayor of Bolingbrook. It's like, why not?
Well, Jackie, if we're going to be putting Republicans up, I would think
we're not
a female would be an essential person to put up too. So I would say maybe Gloria Dollinger or Judy O'Gala. I mean, this is ridiculous.
All right, I'm gonna bang the invisible gal.
That was kind of my point, that it is ridiculous.
Yes, it is ridiculous what you said, but there's a possibility that the other side could put somebody up, and our side could vote for that other person. So
and if everybody
I would like to have.
For Mimi, there's not an issue.
You know, Rachel, you are running the meeting. Why don't you just listen once in a while? You did not have the floor. Stand back and listen, okay? I have the floor, okay? And I'm running the meeting, okay? Now, what I'm trying to tell you is the possibility exists. The other side could put up a candidate and get them through, okay? So I'd rather have two people ready in case our first one fails. I have nothing against Mimi being the first one. So I'm personally, I voted for Mimi, and I'm going to continue to vote for Mimi. But I'm just saying we should have two people ready to go in case it doesn't go through. And in 12 years, if you didn't see it happen, don't think it can't happen, okay? Don't be so narrow-minded. You're the one that claims to have this great vision of everything. So why don't you just...
I don't personally attack people, Mark, so please stop.
And I'm not either. But I ask you to just raise your hand for the floor, and you can't seem to master that. So stand back, and I'll go to the next name on the list. Maura Dunn. Let's see, who do we have next? We have Mimi.
Joe Van Dyne is
next.
next.
Joe Van Dyne. Okay. Joe, could you please speak at this time?
Thank you, Mark. I just would like to be clear to the caucus that I will not be voting for anyone on this board to be speaker other than Mimi Cowan. And I would put that out there to anybody else on this caucus. If they have a different opinion than mine, I would ask that they would speak up now or please forever hold their peace. Thank you.
Okay, next on our raised hands list, because I kind of got away with that, away from the list, would be Sherry. You got something, Sherry?
I do. So you guys, I'm a little confused about the concept of needing a second person ready. So if we don't elect Mimi on the first ballot, so what are the rules? Is it a simple majority, or is it a supermajority, or what are the rules here? Because it seems to me that if we don't all vote for our choice, the Republicans could very well put someone forward and vote and together and elect that person speaker. I mean, I was wrong about the county executive, but I think I'm pretty right about this one.
It's a simple majority of the county board.
So that's why I'm really confused, Mark, what you mean by having somebody else ready in case Mimi doesn't go through. I just want you to elaborate on what you're talking about.
Well,
Mark, it's Maura, if I may.
Go ahead.
So I think what Mark was trying to say is that, love it or hate it, the Republicans have 12 votes.
Right.
Okay. And I think, clearly there's some dissemination amongst you guys. And so I think, Mark, I don't want to speak for you, but I think what Mark was saying was that if you are all not in agreement, which is, the story of life, then, I think he was just wanting a backup person that, you know, perhaps could be some sort of, you know, we don't know what the Republicans want, or you know, I don't know what they want, and you know, they're not having a caucus as far as I know. So, you know, that's going to be a mystery, and so I you know, it's obviously up to you guys, but I think that's what Mark had tried to explain to me before, and so I just wanted to. That's what I think he's talking about.
You're exactly right, Maura. I wanted to have a backup in case something goes awry where Mimi doesn't go through. Then we have another name to bring forward. And that's what I meant. Because I don't want them to bring somebody forward. And they're here now listening anyway, so if they haven't gotten the idea themselves already, they got it now. But anyway. Who's next on the hands up list, Maura? Who do you have?
Mimi.
Mimi? Okay.
And
Mimi?
then Meta. You skipped Mimi, so you went to Sherry. So go back to Mimi and then move on to Meta. Sorry.
Mimi, it's your turn.
No worries. Thanks, Mark. I've heard some confusion about the process, and I just want to clarify my understanding of it, and hopefully laying it out clearly. And, you know, Mary, you can confirm whether or not this is correct. But what will happen is that presumably someone on our side of the caucus will make the first nomination. And presumably from the outcome of this caucus, it will be for me. The whole board then votes. If all of the Democrats stay with the agreement of our caucus, then we have 13 votes for me, and the Republicans can do whatever they want. They can vote for me, they cannot vote for me. We have the majority of the votes, it's fine. If one or more of our Democratic colleagues votes no on my nomination, and all the Republicans vote no, then my nomination will be turned down. If the Republicans were to put forward a nomination, they would have to get at least one Democrat to vote for their Republican nominee in order for that nominee to be accepted, because it's a yes-no vote every time. So, Mark, I hear your concerns. I do also hear what Rachel's saying. I think that if we can, it would be great to find out now whether we are all in agreement on this. I know we're not all in agreement, but if we're all in agreement about going forward as a caucus, if we're all in agreement about going forward as a caucus, then we will have 13 votes and the nomination succeeds. If we are not all in agreement, and if one or more people on this caucus are saying that under no circumstance will they vote yes for me, then we see what happens, because maybe I get a Republican vote or two and it succeeds anyway.
Well,
but I understand, Mark, that what you're saying is if one or more Democrat does not vote for me and I don't get any Republican votes, what's our plan then? My first question would be, let's determine right now, are we all going to go with the will of the caucus, or are we not going with the will of the caucus? I think that's, if we are, then we don't need to beat a dead horse.
And I agree with you 100%. The only thing I was worried about was, like, if you took the gas tax, for example, we had a dissenter on our side against the caucus for personal reasons, you know. And in my opinion, that was, if we were a caucus, and we should vote as a caucus. But yeah, I agree. We should be united.
Let's figure it out now, whether or not we're united, and then we know what we have to do going forward.
Okay.
There's a lot of hands up, Mark.
Yeah, so that'll be who's next? I kind of got out of sync there for a little bit. Kenny.
I think some other people before me. You can defer to them.
Amanda.
Right.
Amanda. Sorry, I was arguing with my kid. So my concern is, what was our vote for Mimi? Who were the dissenters? Mary? Maura?
Tyler did not vote. Ken Harris voted.
That's correct. Ken Harris voted no. Tyler did not vote. All the rest were yes. 11-1. 11 aye, 1 no, 1 not voting.
Okay, so the way I see it is we have to ask Ken if he's willing to vote for Mimi with the caucus. So I'm going to ask you now, Ken, are you willing to vote with Mimi, for Mimi with the caucus?
Ken Harris?
Did you want me to respond, or do you want to listen to other?
Go ahead and respond.
It's a yes or no.
Yes or no?
Okay.
Okay.
Ask Tyler as well.
Tyler? You still with us?
Sorry, I'm having internet difficulties. It's like I told Mimi earlier. I told her she had to get the whole caucus on board. I'm not going to stand in anybody's way, but without Ken, you're going to be in trouble.
So since I still have the floor, thank you, Tyler. We can see that there's one person who doesn't want to go with the flow. I haven't really said anything about Ken's candidacy for this, but I do think that it creates a conflict of interest with being the president of the Forest Preserve and the speaker of the board at the same time. I did ask Ralph Schultz about this, and I think he might be on the call. And I was wondering if we could hear from him if it really is or not a conflict, because I think that's going to be a big problem for me to vote for Ken. That's the huge reason why I wouldn't. Because to me, it almost feels like somebody who wants to sit in every top position and not share that with other people. And I'm not asking for the position for myself. In fact, if Ken is the Forest Preserve president, I will remain the faithful and loyal vice president, and I'm happy to do so. But I do see a problem here. So let's see. Ralph, are you on today?
Yes, I am. I've had an opportunity to have a discussion with George about it, and I know that George and Mary Tatro have spoken. So I'm going to ask Mary to speak about that from the standpoint of the two boards.
Ralph is correct. I have had an opportunity to speak with George about this, and we are in agreement that it is not a conflict.
That being said, your organizational rules allow you to elect a president from your body, and there is no stipulation as to what that person, no stipulation to allow them not to serve in another capacity.
Okay. Next with the comment is Jackie. Jackie, are you still here?
We're caucus. If we are refusing to vote with the majority, then I will reiterate what I said earlier. Give it back to Mustis. Because clearly we can't get our act together. I'm sorry, I've had issues that I brought to my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle, and they have not supported me on multiple occasions, on multiple different kinds of issues. Really, if we can't stick together as a group, then let Mustis have it back. And Mark, you can denigrate that comment all you want, but at the end of the day, if we aren't going to stick together, then it's just ridiculous to even have these caucus meetings.
Thank you for your comment, Jackie. All right, does anybody else have a comment? I think we should.
I do.
Who's?
This is Meta.
Okay, Meta.
Hi.
Hi.
I gotta say, nobody better ever come and tell me that Rachel's gonna vote with somebody else ever again, ever, all right? Because I'm gonna throw this right in your face. I also wanna make a point that, Ken, when you tell you're not going on to bigger and better things, weren't you a candidate for state representative? Weren't they discussing making you a candidate for that? I mean, I appreciate your leadership, but you guys, we need some fresh eyes in the leadership positions, okay? We need fresh eyes. And that is why I'm going to vote for Mimi in this. So I'm going to support my caucus because it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Okay. Next comments are from Joe Van Dyne.
I had no comment, Mark. Maybe I forgot to take my hand down, and if so, I
Okay.
apologize. I'll do that now.
Not a big deal. Beth Rice, are you there with a comment?
Yes, thank you, Mark. I have a comment and a question. I'm going to address my question to Ken. As a county board member from Bolingbrook, he and I both on the county board for nearly the same amount of time. I'd like to know, Ken, if you are not supporting Mimi, then who are you supporting?
Kenny?
Well, as I stated before, I would support myself. And to Meta's question, I was never a candidate for state rep.
Yeah.
And can you repeat what you said? Can you turn our video off? A lot of people maybe.
Yeah, you will break it up.
I was saying I was never a candidate for state rep. You guys hear that?
Yes.
Mark, I said I was never a candidate for state rep. Never. I never filed any paperwork to petition to be a candidate. Okay? And based on the conversation, if that makes a difference, I consider it. I can resign. There's no problem. Can I think about sharing the wealth? I'm agreeable to that. And Beth, I don't know if I answered your question, but like I say, I'll be supportive of me. I mean, but that name has been brought forward. So.
Okay.
All right.
Ken, do you acknowledge the predicament that you're putting our caucus in currently?
Well, it seems like you guys point blame to me. It's not the first time we voted not in unison. We had a budget last year where Larry Walsh had to break the tie because we weren't unified. We had votes on the fourth reserve where we had to reconsider because we weren't unified. So there's going to be even the video gambling. I mean, wasn't unified. So sometimes it's going to come down to us not being unified. So I mean,
the issue is
predicament. So
okay. I would like to offer
Rachel and Mimi ask for consideration. Who would we consider? Who would like to consider for the speaker, since it'll make a difference as to who they would vote for speaker. I mean, county executive. So they're the one that posed the question and posed the suggestion that we consider everybody. So I would like to be considered.
Okay, but I would like to offer to the entire caucus, and then I will stop, that this is a slightly different type of a vote than voting on an issue. An issue, of course, is not always going to be unified. People represent different areas. They come from different places. But right now, we are being asked to vote on a leader for our caucus. The Democratic caucus needs a Democrat. And when we look at the numbers, we do need to be unified. So I would like to ask everyone to consider about what our goals are over the next couple of months and reconsider, Ken, who you would be willing to support in our caucus.
I just want to clarify, you're voting for speaker, not for leader of caucus.
Right. And next after Beth Rice, are you done there, Beth, or are you still got more questions? Or do you want Ken to answer that? I think he answered it pretty clearly.
Yes, he has, and I am done. Thank you, Mark.
All right. I just wanted to not give you a fair chance because of, computer problems and everything else. Sherry Newquist, have you a comment yet?
This is kind of just a pointed question to Ken. Ken, it looks like you don't have the votes for speaker. I know what you're saying, that, anything can happen, but I mean, essentially you don't have the votes for speaker. So what's your plan B then?
Well, I don't have a vote for this caucus as speaker.
So do you think there's Republicans that'll vote for you for speaker? I'm really asking. I'm not trying to.
I don't know. I don't know. But they're going to have a vote on this position.
True.
I mean, that's the people who called around. I don't know.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. Next is Amanda. Sherry, were you done? Do you have more?
Thanks.
Okay. Amanda, speaketh.
Thank you. Honestly, Ken, I probably would have considered voting for you, but this performance today, few things look less like a leader than listening to those that are underneath you. And my fear is, if you're the speaker, that you're going to be the speaker the same way that you are in this meeting today. And it makes me think that we're not going to get anything done except for what you want to have done, period. And then you're alluding to the fact that you believe that you'll have Republican support. So are you telling me that this is going to be a Republican-driven board?
I did not say that, and I've said all I've said. So you guys have voted already, so.
All right. We have already taken a vote, and it's 11-1. 11 for Mimi and 1 for Kenny. And 1 abstention, I believe, or 1 no vote. So I'm of the mindset that we bring forward Mimi as our candidate for county board speaker. And should that not happen, I guess we'll just, if you don't want to have another name ready, if you don't want to have a second person to run, then we'll go back to the drawing board at another point and have another caucus and leave it set for another month.
Okay, I'll put my name forward, Mark. There you go. Rachel Ventura would like to be speaker. So call every Republican and I will ask them all to vote for me. And Ken, you are a traitor.
So anyway, back to
Flip it. I'm serious. You want another name? I just gave you one.
okay. So I would see the necessity of having 3 now, but anyway, it won't matter how many of them you call, but all right, let's move forward here.
Every Republican just heard that.
Mimi is our candidate coming out of caucus.
I'll second the nomination.
Mimi is our candidate coming out of caucus. Period. And
It's okay for Ken to do it, but it's not okay for Rachel to do it. Is our state's attorney going to weigh in on here? Is this a legitimate motion and second or not?
I'm not sure if you were recognized before you made the motion, so I think you were out of order when you made the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Next, we're going to move on to the, Mimi is our candidate, that's it. We're going to move on to the county board agenda. And let's look at the agenda and see if there's anything we need to talk about on the agenda. And the best way I think to do that is call on the committees for committee reports. I don't believe there's any really big controversial subjects on the board agenda. There is one thing that I think in the proclamations, Beth advised me about earlier. Beth, you want to talk about that just for a second?
Sure. The proclamation in honor of Larry Walsh's memory, the proclamation itself will be read into the record. I don't know who's reading that yet. I will need some direction on that. But there was talk of doing a memorial service type thing like we did for Margie Woods, but it has been decided to postpone that until July or August. Hopefully we'll be back open. Everyone can attend. His family can be there as well, so we will keep you posted on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, let's go to the committee reports. Tyler, Land Use and Development.
All right, so we didn't have anything overly controversial. If you look at your agenda, we have two cases. One is a amendment from A1/C4 to I1. It's a split zoning, which we no longer do. It's in Crete Township. The PZC voted 6-0 to approve both of those. Land use voted 6-0, and Rachel abstained. I don't know if she wants to go into detail, but pretty much it's because we're looking at different zoning classifications, and we're gonna in the next month we're gonna start looking at exactly what that's gonna look like. So if she wants to expand on that, I'll let her. The second one is map amendment from A2 to R3, which is in District 2, which is also has some setbacks, which will pass through PZC. So we're just voting on the map amendment, which passed 7-0. Then on the resolutions, we have appeal of a planning and zoning commission in Green Garden Township, which is, if anybody was on the call, it got a little heated between the neighbors. Pretty much it was people who own a farm with a bunch of horses and stuff that seem to always be loose. They've been in violation of the ordinances for over a year. They went to PZC. They were turned down there, so they're appealing it. So this will take a supermajority of 20, and land use voted to withstand the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision. So we denied the appeal. So if anybody has any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Tyler?
And Tyler, I just want to clarify, your motion will be in the affirmative, but then you would be voting no, correct? To deny the overturning it.
Correct. I believe that's how we decided to do it when we had those last few. So I believe you would be correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any comments for Tyler? Any questions for Tyler? Any other? Okay. Let's move on to finance. Ken Harris.
Yes, can you hear me? I have one report to place on file, and then one resolution to bring forward. That's appropriating the grant funds in the Will County Health Department FY 2020 budget. So it's just those two items on the Finance Committee. The next meeting is going to be scheduled July 7th, 2020 at 10 a.m.
All right, Ken, thank you. Any comments or questions for Ken? All right, let's move on to Public Works and Transportation. Joe Van Dyne.
Thanks, Mark. The committee had approved to spend approximately $1.8 million, I believe, on, we're going to install a new traffic signal, various striping throughout the county, and also mill and overlay some road county highways as well. Nothing controversial, business as usual. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Back to Tyler, I think, for judicial.
Same for judicial.
Okay. Public Health and Safety, Beth Rice, you're on. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay. We had a long meeting, but I don't really have anything to report. The long meeting was due to a lot of updating and discussion on COVID. And while we did talk about the public health board, that issue is waiting for a committee of the whole and discussion in a different area. So I don't really have anything contentious to report on.
Okay. Thank you, Beth Rice. Legislative and policy, Jackie.
We did not have a meeting this morning. I talked with my vice chair and several of the committee members, and they didn't feel there was anything of pressing importance to discuss. However, there was an opportunity to comment on the federal regulations concerning solar panels. I don't know if, in fact, the county weighed in, but I did hear from our federal lobbyist that all of the comments that were submitted were negative. What the federal government is proposing is abhorrent. They are trying to change the rules so that electric companies can charge you the regular rate for electricity, but if you put electricity back onto the grid, they're only going to pay you at the wholesale rate, which, I'm sorry, if a kilowatt's worth 9 cents, it's worth 9 cents coming or going. And so this just seems like a grab by the energy companies. Apparently Ameren has the ear of the president. This is not a surprise. And I don't know, Dean, I know is on the call tonight. I saw his name, and I know Nick is there. I don't know if any comments were put on behalf of Will County, but as an individual, I certainly commented. I thought this was a crappy idea.
And I thought you were right on with your comment.
Thank you, Mark.
I also forwarded it to Bill Tolman, who checked out the Illinois energy people, solar energy people organization. I forwarded that to you. I hope you got it.
I did.
All right, good. Thanks, Jackie, for your report. Next, we have waiting in the wings, Reverend Herb Brooks, capital improvements. Herb?
Thank you, sir. I have no resolutions to bring forth and don't have anything new. We just had updates, so I have nothing else to bring forth. Thank you, sir.
All right. That would leave executive committee, and the copy I'm looking at right now is a draft, but I did want to, there's one item in executive that I wanted to talk about real quick, and I believe, no, that's not the place. Hold on. Stand by, everybody. I'm looking for renew the contract now. It's about, I don't know, Beth, were we going to renew the contract of Dr. Burke? Oh, no, it was the upgrading of Dr. Burke's assistant, Dr. Burke's assistant to a full-time position through the grant money, I believe. And I think we should all be behind that because Dr. Burke and her assistant have done a knockout job in Will County. Really, I can't say enough for them. So anyway, I just wanted to remind everybody of that. Might be coming down the pike tomorrow, I believe it is. Rachel, your hand is up. I'm going to call on you at this point.
Thank you, Mark. So at the last executive committee, there was much discussion over seating the new, saying that there was a vacancy and seating the County Board District 8. I have spoke with Herb, and I, respect Herb, but we're just going to have to agree to disagree on some of the things we had on that conversation. In anticipation of this caucus and the potential conversation that may come forth Thursday, I reached out to some PCs in District 8. I got the list from Bill Tolman. I did ask some people if they were interested in running for that seat, knowing that it would only be a 6-month seat because Herb and Denise are on the ballot to be reelected. And I think that this is a great opportunity to bring forth some young leaders who are interested in getting into politics. And the last thing is the person who I've asked to be on this call to introduce themselves is a Hispanic. And we have never had a male Hispanic on the Will County Board. And I think in light of everything that's happening, it's important to represent all of the communities in Will County. And so I did ask Cesar to come on and maybe introduce himself. He is a PC. He ran as a write-in candidate and won. But I don't know if you can find him on the call, and if Mark would be willing to allow him to introduce himself.
Well, I just, that would be up to Mark, I guess, and I guess your caucus, just because the only thing is we're establishing, and maybe Mary can weigh in, the vacancy, but we are not appointing someone at this meeting. So
Fine, so there should be no issue in letting him introduce himself. Other people come before this caucus and introduce themselves, so I don't see
not
what
my
the
call.
issue is.
That's
I
all.
I would object.
We're first going to declare the opening, and at our next caucus, he could come and address the caucus the next time. This ain't the caucus to do it in.
We were such in a rush at the executive committee that we were pushing this through. I don't understand why we can't allow another Democrat to come before this board and introduce who they are, so that everybody here has.
Because it'll be done next meeting.
Don't we have an opportunity for public comment?
I don't trust anyone
Go
on
ahead.
this board at this point.
Point of order. Do we not have public comment coming at the end of our meeting where somebody could address the caucus?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe that would be a nice compromise of a time that somebody from the public could introduce themselves, if that is acceptable to everyone.
I don't think we have a choice, Meta, and I think it's a great idea. And now I'll put my hand down.
Thank you. All right. Other new business we're into right now. I'm looking to check any more hands up on my hands up list. No.
Dean has a question that needs to be addressed.
Who does?
I was just responding to him, Rachel. So, Mark, Dean's question, if you'll allow me to. It was about the RNG plant. We are establishing the ad hoc RNG committee at this meeting. We are not appointing people to the RNG ad hoc committee at this meeting. That will be something that the speaker has an extremely heavy hand in, and I'm sure Mary Tatro will agree with me. And but we are establishing the committee.
So just so you're aware, the speaker appoints with the advice and consent of executive committee. So if you do not appoint the members at the county board meeting, it will have to wait until the next executive committee meeting.
That'll be fine. There's no rush on the ad hoc committee. And just for your information, Dean, the routing on that is to bring it forward to leadership first, and then we'll get it put on an agenda.
Can I say something at all, Mark?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If we want to stay on schedule with this RNG thing, we got all the bids back. We have 5, and we do need to review those soon. If we wait a whole nother month, it will delay the process. So that's why
Sorry to interrupt you, Dean, but the leadership team is still in place. Other than Denise Winfrey, and now she'd be there as the county executive. So I would say, if you need decisions, you still have the leadership team working with you. I don't see the necessity to rush.
No, you should have an ad hoc committee. The leadership does not. That's appointed by the county board. The leadership does not have the authority to make those decisions. So you really do need an ad hoc committee.
You said that's appointed by the speaker and then confirmed at executive committee?
That's typically how it is done. My thought was that because there is no speaker, certainly county board as a whole could appoint that committee. They make the rules, they can appoint that committee.
Let me ask you this. If the second executive is, I don't have the date in front of me right now. July
9th.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's on the 2nd and the 9th.
So, Dean, would July 9th be in time?
No, we were trying to get this done by the end of this month so we could get it on the July county board.
As to why it wasn't brought forward before last week. So
We couldn't bring it before until we had the bids back. So we had to wait for the bids to come back. I didn't put it on the agenda. So I did it as quickly as I could. I couldn't have done it any faster.
No, I just mean we could have established the committee a couple months ago.
I had no idea what the process was going to be. That's not for me to decide. So we were using leadership before.
Decision made if we're going to appoint at county board.
So whatever you guys want to do, but then it will delay it about a month if we do wait until the 9th, because then we can't really have a meeting until the following week at the earliest. So that's about a month from now. So
thanks for giving us our options.
What's that?
Thank you for giving us our options.
Yeah. All I'm trying to do is just letting you know what's going on. It's not for me to decide how you want to do it. And Mary is pointing out that the ad hoc committee probably is the way to go. I just didn't know if you were going to try to start deciding who's on the ad hoc committee. I don't care who is on that committee, but I just need to know so I can plan accordingly. We have a lot of wheels in motion or balls in the air, whatever you want to say with this, and we got to keep them moving to keep this project on track. So that's all I'm trying to do, is keep it going in the direction it should be going and not losing any time. So whatever you guys decide it's in your lap. So I'm just letting you know.
Mary, what would you recommend?
So while we do not have a speaker, so there is no one to bring forward names, but what we have been doing is having the leaders of both the Democratic and Republican caucuses collectively make decisions while we wait for a speaker. So my recommendation is, if you want to appoint a board, that Mark Ferry and Mike Frizzalone bring forward some names, or be prepared to bring forward some names at the county board meeting, if that's the way you want to go. Otherwise, just wait until the executive, when you have a speaker, assuming we have a speaker, and bring forward names at the, I assume we're not having a first executive committee meeting because of the 4th of July, so it would be the second executive committee meeting. But that's a policy decision for you.
Mary, by, let's see, the 18th, we're going to have a speaker that day, someone. So they could make that decision with leadership, or however they want to construct that, in the next 24 to 48 hours after the meeting, when they become speaker, right?
Perhaps you and Mike Frizzalone could come up with a list of possibilities, and then whoever is voted in as speaker could pick from that list of people who are interested. That is a good way to go forward.
Okay, thanks, Mary. I appreciate that. And that is, I think, the way we will move forward with Mary's advice on that.
Doesn't it, Mary, excuse me, wouldn't it have to be, if the speaker is going to make that decision, then doesn't it have to have concurrence from the executive committee?
It can be the full county board.
But that would have to be done on Thursday.
It would. And I think that's what we're talking about, is that Mark and Mike will have a list of interested people prepared, and when the speaker is chosen at county board, they can then review that list and suggest the appointments, and then the county board can vote on that membership at county board.
Okay, so the resolution for establishing the ad hoc is prior to on the agenda, prior to the election of the speaker. So they would bypass it and come back to that one then? Okay, thank you.
This is Jackie. I have my hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
I have seen several meetings where ad hoc committees have been created and the people on those committees were not named in the meeting. Maybe I'm crazy, but it seems like we're like going through all these extra hoops for some reason, and I'm not quite understanding why.
Agreed, Jackie.
Mysteriously been appointed, at least in my opinion, mysteriously appointed to these committees without any vote by the executive committee.
I was asked to review the rules. I reviewed the rules, and the rules say that they shall be appointed with the advice and consent of the executive committee. So I'm just telling you what your rules say.
Okay.
Gotcha. I understand that. Maybe we just don't follow them all the time. Thank you.
Well, in this case, we're going to follow them, I think, because of we don't have a regular speaker. I'm temporary, and the regular speaker will be born Thursday. So hopefully it'll be maybe or somebody from our population on this side. Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. Any need for any public comment, or does anybody from the public want to comment? Beth, is there any emails sent to you that addresses?
I have no public comment either in the questions or via email, which are the two options that we have allowed for public comment to speak before, Mary. I don't know if you want to address that as far as having someone from the general public speak. All the other meetings in the past, we've had them request them to put their comments in writing either through the Q&A through WebEx or via public comment at willcountyillinois.com.
So you don't have any public comments at this time?
No, I do not, Mark.
Have traditionally been
There's
using
caucus
that.
members with their hands up still.
Okay. All right, we'll get to them in a second. I see Beth Rice's hands up, Jackie's hands up, or unless it's an old hand.
This is Beth Rice. I did have my hand up going back to the precinct committeemen that Rachel Ventura spoke to, and I would like to give him an opportunity to speak during public comment. I think it's very appropriate, and I just want to throw that out there.
Awesome.
Next is Sherry Newquist.
Oh, I just forgot to take my hand down. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right, let's go back and see if there's any more hands. Okay. Rachel, is this person in the same room with you or sitting on your lap by your computer or something? I don't know.
That's incredibly sexist, Mark. No, this person is not in the same room with me, and I
Well,
cannot believe
it could be
rude.
it could be a friend of yours that could be
stop,
at your house.
Stop.
The other day at executive. Stop, Rachel. Just stop. Just stop. The other day at executive, two people.
You need to stop.
Two people.
You need to stop.
Two people were in the same office, and that's what I was getting at. So, to make it anything other than that, good luck, because that ain't what I intended. Now you're a mind reader. Okay.
However,
bring on whoever this is. Whoever this is from what precinct is it?
Why don't you unmute the public? This is public.
But I don't have
comment.
control of that.
Mark,
Beth.
do I have the floor or not? I mean, am I allowed to make my 3-minute speech or not? I am asking, since the Democratic caucus here, our leader, has decided to censor other Democrats from coming on board. I hope everybody is paying attention to this power play that's happening. It's disgraceful. It's traitorous. I would ask now, by legal standards, that Mary Tatro now stand up for us and say this is not okay to not let the public talk. The fact that you're willing to censor your own PCs is scary. I don't know what's going on and why you guys are
I didn't say they
hell-bent
couldn't.
against having someone come on and introduce themselves.
I never said they couldn't talk.
I'm asking that public comment be upheld. Thank you.
I never said anyone.
Mark, I need direction from you if you would want me to make this general public a panelist. All I clarified is in the past, public comments.
Yeah, if he's still here. If he's still here.
Let me tell you.
He can make a comment. I don't have anything wrong with that.
Okay, I've made him a panelist.
Okay, identify yourself, panelist.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Cesar Escutia. I'm a precinct committeeman from the precinct of 15 in Joliet. I won my precinct from a write-in campaign, the only one in the entirety of the county. And I've been listening in throughout the whole committee meeting, and I really feel like this committee could use some leadership, and not from people who are necessarily ingrained in the party already. I'm looking forward to, as a 21-year-old, as a Hispanic, the only one that I can see in the room, to be able to fill that seat. And I wish to do that in complete opposition to anyone who dares to try to censor the public in any way. Thank you.
Okay. That's your comment?
Yes, that's my comment.
Okay, thank you for showing up. Even though you didn't have to come to a location, a public location, to meet with us. Thank you for your comment, and thank you for your interest. Next, is there any more comments from the public? Any more public comments? Any more comment from the public? All right, seeing none or nobody replying.
Motion to adjourn.
Hold it. Mary, do we need a executive committee?
No.
Executive session?
Chris
I'm
has
sorry.
a question.
Okay, who? That's right. It's okay, Beth. Beth Rice?
Sorry about that. How about now?
Okay.
Okay. So I think my question is for Mary Tatro. I am wondering, can there be a tie in voting for the county board speaker? And if so, what would happen? Who would break the tie?
There can only be a tie if there's a county board member not present. You have 25 members, so if everyone's present, there's no way you'll have it. Well, or if somebody abstains. If there is a tie, then the county executive breaks the tie.
Okay, thank you. You know, I know from the numbers that you wouldn't anticipate a tie, but after listening or being part of this caucus discussion, who knows what could happen, or who knows who might be not present or abstain, but it would be in fact. So Denise would be the county executive at that point, and she would break the tie?
Denise is currently your county executive, so she would break the tie.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
All right. Thanks, Mary, for all your hard work tonight. Thank you, committeeman. And since there's no need for executive session and there's no more public comments, I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Brooks.
Second,
Motion
Harris.
by Brooks. Second by Harris. Previous roll. Previous roll.
Previous roll, Mueller.
Thank you, Benna. And all in favor?
You need a second to the previous roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I already had the second. That it was taking so long. Okay, second to previous roll. Who's
Second.
that? Joe Van Dyne?
Second by Trenier. Aye.
Second by Trenier. Okay, thanks, Jackie. All in favor?
Aye.
When?
Opposed? Motion carries. We're out.
¿Qué es este chingadera?